The program is In Touch. I'm Ginny McGehee for our Hall Communications radio stations. We have three guests in the studio. I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves here from Dismas House.
And thank you for having us. I'm Honora Focho, and I'm the house director on Buell Street in Burlington.
I'm the assistant house director at the View Street location.
And your name?
Holly Rossi. Thank you very much for having us today. And I am Francine Mbayu, the house director in Winooski.
In Winooski. Let's talk about Dismas House, because when I saw an event, I reached out to you, Honora. Tell us a little history first, I think, about Dismas House, where it started, why it started. It's grown, evidently. There are a couple more houses that are available, too.
Yeah. The work to build the original Dismas House started a long time ago. We incorporated in 1986 with Buell Street Dismas House. That was our first and only in Vermont for a little bit. But the idea came from actually Tennessee. The first Dismas House was created by Father Jack Hickey in Tennessee in 1974. And so a group of community members and volunteers traveled to Tennessee and brought Father Hickey to Vermont when they saw a need of a particular population that was left behind, if you will. The concept of Dismas House, or in its origins, was to have students and formerly incarcerated folk live together so they can integrate in community together and create community together for each other. The first house started in 1986 on Buell Street. Since then, we have grown to 5 houses across the state. We have a house in Winooski, and Francine will talk more about that. We have 2 houses in Rutland County, one for men and one for women, and then one down in Hartford, Vermont.
Wow, that has expanded then, and it's
Yes.
covering a lot of the Green Mountain State. This is unusual, isn't it? Well, I'm sure there are a lot of different programs that they're trying to help folks get back on their feet. So you probably work with a ton of people in some ways to get the word out, to find out who's in need. It must be a process.
I think the concept of Dismas is something that it's magical, truly. The magic comes in a community. When you are ostracized or separated from a community, it's hard to come back to it. When harm is done, you have to repair some harm before you can kind of reintegrate. And so that is our mission, is to really support folks in reintegrating with themselves and the community by creating community in each house. And being congregate is intentional on the part of Dismas because each house is family-like. We coexist together. Our evening meals are provided by volunteers. Then hours and hours of volunteer work is invested in working directly with folk. We create that community internally not to feel alone, right? When you are alone and isolated, that's sort of when a lot of old behaviors kick in. We have amazing relationship with our partners in community of all kinds, from substance use to employers to educational institutions to childcare providers, because a lot of our folk are parents. So you're talking about multi-generational repairs and reconciliation with your parents, with your partners, with your children, and kind of navigating those worlds. You need resources. As an organization, stand as generalists, and we'll say, okay, we'll walk this walk with you. What is it that you need? And then we go and find what people need. And my colleagues will tell you, almost is about convincing people that, yeah, we're willing to help, but it's on your time. This is your life. I'm not going to take it over for you, but this is what I can do. Sometimes you really have to show by example that you really mean, I'm here to help. Folks are not always successful on the first try, and success is really measured what they want to achieve with their lives. But they come back to us, and that's sort of, you will hear our tagline is second chances.
And everybody deserves one.
And that's what Dismas is all about. And that's what sustained us really in this really heavy-duty work. People's life and atrocities they have experienced in life. Majority of our folk come from very complex childhoods and lives. We are also talking about fairly young folk. We're talking about average age of 40. So they are still in their primes. And there you have this raw energy that you want to really help them narrow and focus and use that to live another 40, 50 years. We're not talking about older population with specific needs, but it's really how to support people in finding their own paths.
Dismas House was originally for just men, right? Was it always helping women and men?
It was always helping women and men. It used to be co-ed until mid 2010s. Somewhere in the middle of 2010s, a decision was made that each house will be housing one group per sex. So therefore, we have 4 houses for men because it's a larger population, and 1 house for women down in Rutland.
Dismas is now throughout the state. And Honora, thank you for that, because we want to talk about the ones here in our neighborhood, which are the originals, first on Buell Street in Burlington, and Winooski. Should I get Francine on the microphone right now? Francine Umbayu, you work with Dismas House. How long have you been involved?
I've been involved with Dismas almost 2 years.
What got you into working here?
What make me work with Dismas, I feel like it get to a point in my life I did every kind of like other job. I feel like the call for Dismas was very important because it was a kind of like unique job that is in town, second chance. Because I'm a believer and I believe in second chance. That's why I was attracted to Dismas.
You found out about it and joined on a couple years ago. It just evidently probably solidified your decision after being there.
Is being no judgmental, because I know there is a bias, there is a stereotype in the community, and I feel like we try to just have people to go away from that judgment and stereotype.
All walks of life, I would guess, need some help.
Yes, like the fact that we are able to provide the data for people, and because coming back from jail, you have a lot of things going on, so you can find a stable house, provide you food without worry about anything else, and then you have a staff member that do case management for you, because the other company, they have a case manager, but you have to go through all the process of getting access to case manager. But Dismas is a package. You have a housing, you have a case manager available for you, and you have a people that support you from heart.
I tell you, food and a roof over our heads for folks who have been without, and there are plenty these days of all walks of life just because things are difficult. But what a grounding it is to have a place to sleep and a good meal to eat and people that are keeping track of you and helping you along. And I'm guessing in employment or those next steps too.
Yeah, special food, we're really thankful and grateful that we have a volunteer. Every single night, there is 5 volunteer, and there's a 25 volunteer a week that go and provide food. And the food that they buy, it is just amazing food. They don't drop food just to say that you just need the food. No, they sit down with us, which is one of the main thing for Dismas. So eat together as a family at the table.
Dismas is honoring its 40th year of existence in Vermont. And I had mentioned to Honora, I knew some of the folks from Dismas House, and I had a lot of radio listeners who volunteered and cooked a meal, and they picked a day a lot of times and would do it each week, from dessert and nutritious meals. And volunteering and donations probably make things happen.
But we receive a donation from a lot of churches, and we are thankful for that. Dismas is a very good organization, and I would like to invite a lot of people, if you have a time, on April 26th from 1 to 3. We're going to be at Delta Hotel. We're going to celebrate our anniversary. Please come join us so you can learn more about the Dismas.
And what day is that again?
It is a Sunday, April 26th from 1 to 3 at the Delta Hotel.
People can either donate or volunteer or learn more about it. Holly Rossi's in here too, and
I'm at the Buell Street house. I just wanted to add on to what Francina said about dinners. The most important part of having dinners at our house is the connections that are made between the volunteers and the residents. In that 1 hour, so much can be accomplished, not just the eating of the wonderful food that everybody brings. Go on our website, go on to volunteer, go on to check and see if there are spots for dinner. Let us know who you are so we can introduce ourselves to you.
So a little laugh and some conversation and a good meal provided by a lot of hardworking folks out there. How long have you been working with Dismas House?
Well, I've been at Dismas House for a little over 2 years. What brought me there is lived experience. When I applied for this position and I got it, it brought my life full circle so that I can reach back and put my hand out to help.
Honora, you want to add anything else?
Just reach out to us because as a community-based organization, we are really grassroots and we do need help with everything from maintaining the houses. That's a big deal for us. We really spend a lot of time making sure that people live with dignity. If you are not experiencing dignity and appreciation for just being a human being, we all have a baggage. We all bring it with us. Sometimes we are judged more than others. If you can drop the judgment and come in for curiosity's sake to one of our dinners, you can just be a guest. You do not have to commit to anything, but just kind of come meet with us. We are very open to volunteering on the houses, beautification, outreach. We have students to people who live in a senior residence home volunteering for us on a regular basis. So it's a really community effort, and we listen. One thing that attracted me to Dismas is that it's really listening to the community. And we actually, Buell Street has been a staple of our neighborhood for 40 years. Our neighborhood changes, it's students. So we kind of stayed true to our original mission, which is bringing people together. We are the oldest residing residents on our street now. We are open, we need support. That's how we exist. And we have existed for almost 40 years now. Let us do another 40. We all thrive when all people thrive. We all hurt when one person hurts. If you bring people up and you keep moving people forward, we all as a community move forward. You have less strife, less angst in the community. That's the whole point. And that's why we work and want to work with every single organization, because our folks have very complex life like we all do. We all need services. And so that's what Dismas does, is really kind of mediates sometimes and says, wait, I have a contact at Spectrum. Let me give them a call. You can give people a phone number and say, give them a call. But it's a different thing when you have a medium in between that says, wait a minute, I know Holly at Buell Street. Let me give her a call. That boosts people's ego.
You've grown, offering more help, so it's obviously doing something right. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Before working for Dismas, I did not understand what is a probation officer, what is a FSU, what is the police. But being at Dismas for 2 years, without FSU, without probation officer, we couldn't do our job better. We love the relationship that we have, and we understand each other. We make the job easy and a community that is safe.
Well, the word community does mean that you can't do it all alone, and it does involve others very often when you're trying to make a big difference. I appreciate you being at the studio. Anything else you might want to add?
Just a very big thank you to all of our supporters and volunteers, because we couldn't do it without you.
Folks can learn more about Dismas House and your campuses, your different buildings and places throughout the state of Vermont.
The website is www.dismasofvermont, VT, not the whole word, .org. dismasofvt.org.
And that's DISMAS. Ladies, I really appreciate you being here from Dismas House and all the good work. We've had Anara Foco, and we had Francine, let's do it again, and Francine Umbayu from the Winooski House, Dismas House, and Holly Rossi, too, here All three of you, thank you so much for being in our studio. You ladies are great.
Thank you so much.
Keep rocking it. I want to thank all of these fine folks for being here and learn more about Dismas House. I want to thank all our listeners for tuning in. I'm Ginny McGehee, and you're in touch.